What's going on YouTube? This is Cletus. I'm going to do a little how-to video on customizing Terra terrariums. A lot of people will tell you that both the glass and the screen top is horrible for high humidity environments and maintaining temperatures, and they are correct. But there's a lot of things you can do to make it work for you. The reason you would do these things is because I think the Terra glass terrariums are excellent tanks. They're attractive, they look really nice. They're really accessible because of the removable screen top and the fact that the doors open in the front. I really like that. They come with this foam background, which I like. It leaves some options for mounting decorations, and it actually insulates this whole back wall of the tank. Styrofoam is an excellent insulator. That's what it's made of. This tank is going to be for Bindi, my green tree python. It's a really big tank for her size right now, but what we're going to do with this is a naturalistic planted tank. She's already in a planted tank. This tank is going to have a lot more plants. It's going to be lit by a metal halide grow light. We plan on having the pansies in here, orchids, lots of greenery, some ivy. There's going to be a lot of plants in here. So what we're going to do today is just two things. The starting process, this tank is going to take me some time to build. Been taking my time, try to really do it right. So today we're going to install the perch mounts, and we're going to customize this screen top to make it not so much a screen anymore. I want to keep the screen top because I like a couple things about it. I like the support it has. It's got this window pane frame, so it's pretty stiff. I do want to have the option of having some screen for ventilation, letting light through, and so forth. And it's got these, if you want to come over here, it's got these sliding cord locks. There's some slots in here. There's slots for 5 cords on each side, and after you put the cords in, you close this slide and it locks them off. Just some great features. I really like this tank, and it just needs a little help, and it's going to work really well for what we're doing with it. So let's start off installing the perch mounts. I'm going to have 3 perches in this tank, and if we get a good shot of the end over here, you can see what I've done. I've laid out where the perches are going to be mounted. What I did was I actually used crayon on the outside of the tank, and that's telling me where to put the perch mounts. They were lined up by eye and then measured on each side, so these have the same dimensions, so they'll have a nice even square mount. And then afterwards I can clean them up. I'm just going to use one of those Mr. Clean magic erasers, but any sponge or anything, I'll take the crayon right off the glass. It works really well. Crayon would work, grease pencil, just easy cleanup. So I guess step 1, you gotta find yourself good silicone. You have to be selective because some silicones can be toxic to your snake. I have 2 different kinds here. I guess I'll show you. They're both essentially the same thing. What they are is 100% clear silicone rubber. Things to look out for are any silicones that say that they are mold or mildew resistant. That is more important if you're using the silicone in a aquarium environment where it will have water, but I just think as a general rule I wanted as few chemicals in it as possible. So choice 1 is the DAP clear 100% waterproof silicone blue tube. You get a good shot of that. And this I picked up the other day. This is GE Silicone 1, but it's essentially the same thing. 100% clear silicone. That's what you want to use. You see I have a hook in here. What that is that's my storage cap. A hook or a screw works really well. anything you can screw in there. And then what I do, I screw it in and then I put tape around it to really seal it for long-term storage. So whenever you're gluing anything, super important that everything is clean. And because we're gluing to glass and this is going to be supporting weight, we want to make sure it's really clean. The two different products you could use are either rubbing alcohol or Windex, because we're going to house an animal in here. I think going with the rubbing alcohol is just a little safer, but I'm not opposed to using Windex. It's evaporative and non-residual, and it's a solvent, so it'll remove grease and oils. That's the most important thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a chunk of paper towel, and we have our perch mounts. So I'll grab one pair of perch mounts. You got an open end and a closed end. And that's so you can slide the perch in one end and then rest it in the top to make the perches easily removable. I've contemplated painting these, but I think for now I'm just going to leave them as is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the silicone, some of this alcohol. It's pretty cool, it's got a squirt top. And I'm going to clean this pair of perch mounts up on the back and let them dry. Set them in here face up, let the alcohol dry. And I'm going to work from the top down, so I'm going to clean up the area on this top perch mount where it's going to be. Just clean it really good. But basically, I've just cleaned the glass. You don't know what's in the manufacturing process, what kind of stuff they use to process this glass. So I've cleaned my perch mounts, I've cleaned the glass. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and clean clean up a good area. Let the alcohol dry. It evaporates fairly quickly and doesn't leave anything behind. That's so we get a good, secure bond with the silicone to the glass. You don't want too much because you don't want it squirting out all over the place, and it, you know, a good even coating. Basically, you can only glue so much. So this is going to help it dry and cure quicker by not using any more than you have to. Because we're going inside this circle and there's not going to be a lot of room for air, this will take longer to cure than if you were just sealing a crack with, like, you know, just normal caulking, just sealing a seam. So doing this, normally I'm okay with 24 hours for a curing time. I would give this at least 48. I'm going to put the open end on this one right here, and basically you want it to go right where you want it the first time. You don't want to slide it around. So I'm just going to kind of hover over it, eyeball it, and then just press it on there. So you can see that. Do the same thing, line it up over the circle that I've made. Just press it. Once this cures, see, it was a little off. It's kind of hard to see. Once this cures, I will go back and I will run a very thin bead all the way around so that no water can get in there in case it, you know, didn't make a perfect seal. So I'll seal that up, and I don't think these are going to go anywhere. There we go. So our perch mounts are installed. Now the next step is what I'm going to do about customizing this lid. These are the perches I have. I have 6 different perches. They're all cut to length, just different sizes. She's pretty small right now, so I'll probably start off with these smaller size perches. But as she gets bigger, I can change out. I have bigger ones if I want to do anything to them. Clean them, whatever, switch them out. I have options and I have spares. So this is our screen lid. couple things I'll tell you. First off is what I'm going to use to cap it. What I have here is Lexan. It's a brand name. This is polycarbonate, very similar to plexiglass. Plexiglass is horrible to work with. It's very difficult to cut, very difficult to drill. It's very brittle. Lexan costs a little more, but is excellent. You can drill it and cut it very easily. It's great stuff. This is 1/8 inch Lexan. What this is going to do is this is going to provide some insulation and keep humidity from exiting the tank. What I did was I measured these squares and I ordered these from my local glass store. I use Greenfield Glass in Greenfield, Massachusetts, and they cut them right to my size. The cool thing about this stuff is it's sandable. You can use any kind of regular sandpaper. So what I did, I don't know if you can get a good view of that, I rounded the corners because these corners are kind of rounded, and I also smoothed the edges. This stuff has kind of it's got a plastic coating to it, so I'm going to peel that off right before I put these in place. What I found with this lid is if you read on a measuring tape, these are all the same size, but these two back ones, for whatever reason, I don't know if there's an angle here or something, but these two back squares are just a little tighter. So I took one of these, labeled it back, and I just had to sand one of the edges down a bit to get it to fit nice. So what I'm going to do is the same thing I did with that, because we want a good tight seal. We want to make sure it sticks. I'm just going to clean this up with alcohol. Now I only have 3 of them, and the reason for that is the light is going to go on this end. I don't know how much light filtering properties this has. I haven't done the research on that yet, so I may or may not decide to cap this one. If I decide to cap it, I'll just order another piece and I'll pop it in. If I decide I want to leave it open, then I didn't get anything I didn't have to. Just for reference, these 3 pieces cost about $27. It's a little expensive, but for what the finished product is going to be, it's well worth it. And I've bought other pieces for my tanks. In general, it's pretty cheap. The 2 other pieces I bought were like $3 and $5 or something. These are a little bigger than I usually buy, and I had to get 3 of them, so it cost a little bit extra. So why don't we start with the back one. Again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to peel this protective film off. This has just the alcohol on it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just wipe the edges where the silicone's gonna be down. And put this in place. And silicone. And just run a nice bead all the way around. I guess I will say this silicone I'm doing right now is not really necessary. If you're going to do something different with this cage in the future, you wouldn't have to commit to siliconing these in. They're actually, because they were custom fit right for this tank. I don't know if you saw me pop it in. It's pretty tight fit. I'm not gaining a whole lot of seal from siliconing this in, but because of the insulation factor, I'm just going to do it for good measure. The next video, which will be a separate video because this is going to take I'm going to give this 2 days to cure, is going to be installing the radiant heat panel. That's another reason I'm siliconing this, is because this Lexan is actually going to be what the radiant heat panel is going to mount to. The radiant heat panel right there is going to get attached on the inside of the tank, and I'm going to drill 2 holes through this Lexan, and the screws will go through the radiant heat panel, through the screen top, through the Lexan, and be screwed on top. Between the inside screen and the radiant heat panel, I'm going to use these 2 pieces, which I custom fit to fit the inside. And it's pretty much aluminized bubble wrap. It's insulation. It just insulates through air pockets. That's going to help make a nice snug fit for this radiant heat panel. Add some insulation. Should work great. I guess just going to be more of the same, so I'll call that a wrap. Thanks for watching. Bye.